We are now streaming on YouTube. That means I can say, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Tap, coming at you live today for our waiver wire pickups of the week. Hope everyone's excited. Hope everyone's happy. Guys, make sure you're jumping on into this live stream. Mike is currently hitting up the interwebs, trying to let everyone know that we're doing this one live. Obviously, everyone knows we are Dolphins fans, and we had a day of mourning yesterday, so we did not get the episode with the waivers out. So we wanted to live stream it to you and just drop it right away. Make sure you guys have a chance to take a look at it and see what kind of players you can be picking up as we move into week 3.
I can't believe it's week 3 already.
It's moving quick. You know, in season just zooms on by. So we'll have to see what happens. Mike, do you have a good week too?
No, I didn't. The Dolphins suck, and it hurts me. Yeah. It pains me to say that. Outside of that, though, fantasy football-wise, I did great. I think I went 10-3. My wife beat me again, though. I am 0-4 against my wife in fantasy football in every year we've played each other.
You know, they say that when you go head-to-head against someone, it's generally the person that doesn't overthink it wins. And,
Yeah, unfortunately, I am overthinking it for sure. I am overthinking it, but
7 for 3.
Yeah,
so that's not terrible, but it's not great. Not great. So, guys, as we mentioned earlier, this is going to be the waiver wire for Week 3 episode. A lot of players, including our quarterback, getting hurt. So we're going to tell you guys who you need to be picking up, making sure that you're going to be ready and available for this Week 3. Mike, are you ready?
I am not. Give me like 2 minutes. Give me a minute, and I will have everything out. Yeah, give me 2 minutes. Can you entertain the people for 2 minutes?
I'll entertain the people. I'll bore them a little bit. Make sure you guys are both liked and subscribed to the YouTube channel, liking every video, letting us know what you guys really enjoy about us. And then make sure you guys are going out of your way to leave us a rating on these podcasts. We want to know what you guys think. It helps us reach more people so, you know, we can get more questions about what you guys want to hear. What kind of questions you guys have. Maybe that player that's on your bench that you're not too confident about, that you haven't even asked about. Might be the breakout star of your whole season, and you might be missing. But let me jump into the first guy. I'll just make it very, very, very quick. First waiver quarterback on the week that we're going to be giving to you guys is actually going to be Teddy Bridgewater. He is going to be going against the Jets this week after having 2 incredible weeks so far as a starting quarterback in Denver. Personally, I think we all agree we saw this already in Carolina last season. And now in Denver, he's looking really, really strong. And this week, he's going to be going up against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. So we will have to jump on that train. He's only owned in 19.5% of leagues currently right now. Mike, what's your take on the Teddy B?
Oh, I love Teddy B. I think he's going to be great. I mean, I have him. He is really helping me out in a couple leagues. Like, truthfully, I mean, he has got a nice game coming up this week. He had a stretch of 2 great games prior to that where he played very well. Currently the quarterback 12 on the year. So I love Teddy B. Now he does have a tough matchup, or a couple tough 3-4 tough matchups after this week. But I think you can pick him up, and he's definitely going to be a solid streaming option this week. And I think that he will have a solid week. And if you need to hold on to him, or if you want 2 quarterbacks, this is the guy to pick up, because he's been balling. He's been playing really well.
Come on. These are, if we were to compare this to anything, these are already leading into early Justin Herbert numbers. Realistically, you already had a 300-yard, 2-touchdown game, a 265-plus yard game with another 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles, no mistakes. Teddy's looking great. I think he's someone that slots right into your starting lineup. And if you've been that person that's been really weak at quarterback coming into the draft and you had to play him these last 2 weeks, you must feel like a rock star right now. Another quarterback.
I do feel like a rock star. because I have been.
Hey, I had him in a 2-quarterback league starting for me this weekend, and only half of them screwed me. So moving over to the next guy, we got Derek Carr going up against Miami this weekend, facing another tough matchup on the defensive side of the ball. He has been someone that's been beating out some of the best teams in the league, as far as I'm concerned. Going against Pittsburgh and going against Baltimore, two very, very strong defenses, and able to find himself as the quarterback 10 right now. I think that Derek Carr earns a spot to be an easy stream almost every week, and someone that you might even want to pick up as your second quarterback on your roster. Only owned in 22.1% of leagues right now.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Dolphins, pretty tough matchup. They have a great secondary and whatnot, but the way he's been playing is lights out. I mean, currently quarterback 10. After that, he plays the Chargers, and the Bears, who the Bears are meh this year against the quarterback, up and down so far. Then Denver, who Bradley Chubb is hurt. So, that's definitely a big loss to that team. He has to have ankle surgery. I think Derek Carr is going to be a solid quarterback throughout the year. After that, he's got a pretty nice schedule. I mean, I like his later schedule. Obviously, he has to play KC twice, but I like picking up Derek Carr. I'm willing to, if I'm quarterback needy, I'm willing to spend, 10 to 15% on Derek Carr. Henry Ruggs is emerging, which is nice. We saw that little connection this week. And of course, he's got Darren Waller, one of the best tight ends in the league.
Foster Moreau?
He also has Foster Moreau.
Foster Moreau, that's how you say it. Actually, a better tight end technically than Derrick Henry this week Darren Waller this week in fantasy.
Yeah.
Finding any golden lining I can there when I talk crap about someone that's an elite talent. So got to do what I can. Silver lining. It's been a long day, Mike, and it continues to stay very long as I keep the 90s phone calls for work. So moving on to another quarterback that you guys can pick up this week. Proved himself, in my opinion, Taylor Heineke up against the Giants in what was one of the weirdest Thursday night games that was expected to be a complete sleep fest. Turned into a tight game that had everyone who plays Vegas at the edge of their seats. Another 300-yard, 2-touchdown game. Heineke, though, does have the interception on his belt. 34 completions this game on 46 attempts. They asked him to sling the ball, and he did it. Terry McLaurin absolutely loving Heineke right now. And I think he's someone that you can throw into a 2-quarterback league if you need someone, if he's still sitting on your waivers. In standard leagues right now, he's owned at 2.8%, meaning that he's readily available. He will have Buffalo this week, which is obviously a touch matchup for most quarterbacks. But he will be following that up with Atlanta, New Orleans, and then possibly a shootout game against Kansas City, in my opinion. So
potentially
could be 3 weeks where you can comfortably slate him at the quarterback 2 and possibly at that starting quarterback position.
Yeah, I think there's upside. Obviously, with Taylor Heineke, and we saw it last year against the Buccaneers. He has that rushing ability. My only concern is consistency, but he's got Logan Thomas, he's got Terry McLaurin, and even De'Ami Brown. He's comfortable there throwing the ball to him, and Adam Humphries. So it looks like he's pretty comfortable there. Had a pretty solid week this week. And yeah, I mean, he finishes the quarterback 21 this week, but I'm sorry.
No, he's quarterback 21 on the season right now.
Yeah, quarterback 21 on the season, quarterback 11 this week. And I think that, there is definitely some upside there with him. He only had 6 rushing yards. He had 4 rushing attempts though, which is nice to see. So, if he gets in that end zone, which he will, I know he will, he'll be a nice fantasy asset. My only concern is this week going up against Buffalo. That's pretty rough, but Atlanta the following week. Get him now while you can. Cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of those rushes actually were 1-yard dives, QB keeps either on the 4th and 1 or the goal line trying to get into the end zone, but never made it. So don't look at that yards per carry, but look at the fact that he will use his body to get those yards. I like Heineke a lot. I think he's going to be a great little pickup this season. Another guy that we're not far from as hot on as Heineke, but putting this on everyone's radar, Tyrod Taylor will not be playing this week, leaving rookie Davis Mills, who was the Texans' first pick in the draft this year. Before anything else, unless Deshaun Watson becomes, magically annulled of all claims, Davis Mills will be getting the start against Carolina, possibly the sleeper defense out of the year. But someone I think you can just pick up and roster, in my opinion. I have him on my roster right now. If you're in a dynasty league, drop that deep bench receiver and pick him up and hold him and see what happens. You never know when that shining star is going to break out.
So redraft wise, I'm not taking him. I'm not picking him up in any leagues. I don't think it's worth it unless it's a super flex or a 2-quarterback league. At that point, maybe just have him take that last bench spot just in case. Because, we had 4 quarterbacks go down this week. So, injuries are starting to pile up a little bit. So definitely, I wouldn't spend a ton for it. But if you're in one of those situations, that's kind of where I'd be considering him.
Yeah. Now going over to the running back, someone who's another surprise on the year, Tony Pollard, looking like he might be that 1A, 1B instead of Mr. number 2 on the team. Essentially splitting carries and touches with Ezekiel Elliott, owned in 48.6% of leagues. Now, is he someone that you pick up and throw in, or is he someone you just pick up and hold to the point?
Right now, I think it's a pick up and hold. I like the fact it's one boom week. He got in the end zone and he's very, very efficient, and he's been very efficient even against Tampa. There's only 3 carries, but still going up against that Tampa defense. Shoot, if you can run for more than 3 yards, you're pretty solid. I don't care how many attempts you have, but I think for now it's a hold. I want to see one more week of solid production. He is definitely that awesome change of pace back, and I think he kind of fits that offense maybe a little bit better. Unfortunately, gone are the days of Zeke, I think, being the workhorse. But I do think that, if I think that Zeke is still the guy. He's getting, I think it was what I was reading, 44 attempts to Pollard's 21 total this year. So he's still clearly out touching him, but I am definitely picking up Pollard. He's my target because God forbid something happens to Zeke. This guy is going to help win people leagues.
Yeah. No, I think Pollard's going to be someone that's great. As far as the attempts go, Zeke's at 27 carries, Pollard's at 16. Pollard's gotten 7 targets and Zeke's got 4. So it's like a 30 to 20 split between the two, roughly. So personally, I don't think it's spread enough. I think they need to be feeding Zeke a little bit more.
I do too.
Mainly because I've picked him up this year, expecting a lot more out of him. But Pollard, on the other hand, becomes someone that you can look to, get you through a waiver, a streaming week at a flex position if you got a bunch of people hurt and didn't pick up anyone in the waivers in the week. And then obviously still has that handcuff potential stacked in on top of that. I'm sorry.
Real quick, are you comfortable playing him this week against Philly?
No.
Okay.
I think there's better people that give you a safer floor, because there still is potential that Tony Pollard comes in and only sees 3 carries and 2 catches.
Right.
They can change up that offense at any point, and everything we're talking about as a committee is coming off of coach speak, which only carries so much weight. I'm not comfortable touching them this week. I'm going to need a couple more. I'd rather take shots on people or find a safer floor.
Yeah.
Someone that has a safer floor, owns probably a little bit more, or actually a lot more. Michael Carter at 55.1% seemed to be the guy in New York this week. The only guy in New York that didn't look terrible, in my opinion. So is it time for Michael Carter believers to start throwing him in?
Not this week, not against Denver. But I do want to see his touches increase continually. I do think, during draft season, we said it. It's not going to be, if you drafted Michael Carter, it's not for the first, 4 or 5 weeks. You're waiting until he really, really takes over that backfield. And to be honest, the way that Zach Wilson looked, they're going to have to establish a run game, a solid run game. And, I don't think Ty Johnson gets it done. I don't think that Tevin Coleman, gets it done. He only had 5 snaps or 5 touches. But I think it's going to be Michael Carter's backfield. I think picking him up now, you're probably going to have to spend like 20 to 25%. People are spending up right now, being that Elijah Mitchell didn't work out because of the injury and stuff like that so far. But I don't think you start him this week, but I do want to see an increase in touches. And then that's really when he'll get curious for me. Real quick, if you're on YouTube watching this, if you could just smash that like button real quick, that'd be awesome. We'd really appreciate it. So how do you feel about Michael Carter?
Again, I think I'm comfortable playing him already, regardless. I think he's going to get the touches. Like you're saying, they're going to have to rely on that run game. Into the first half, I think Zach Wilson only had 3 completions. So again,
to his own team.
To his own team, you're right. 4 interceptions. So I think the only someone we're going to be seeing stats from in garbage time. And while they're trying to stay competitive in the game, I do think they're going to be starting to use Michael Carter more and more. And I think this is just a taste of what we're going to be getting. Even Elijah Moore had 2 tackles on the day, which is a stat no one was expecting, but we're all happy to see.
Yeah.
So moving on, though, we've got another guy that might be falling off of some people's radars here. Mark Ingram out of Houston. Now, his total point total on the week wasn't very flashy, but if you are looking for someone who's going to possibly getting some more work with this lack of a seasoned quarterback back there, Mark Ingram was the highest or had the most carries of all running backs on the team. And somewhat solid on those.
I'm not even gonna lie. I'm the one who brought Mark Ingram up because John doesn't really like him, right? No. Okay, so the only reason why I'm bringing Mark Ingram up is because he's got the touches. I like backs and players who get the volume. That's really the only thing. And with a new rookie running back, I think establishing the run is going to be key to kind of getting him into a comfort zone, getting him into a rhythm. So that's why I'm saying, go target Mark Ingram. I wouldn't use any more than 11%. That's exactly what I bid actually, and I didn't get him last week. But I do like the fact that he is there. He's getting the attempts he is, and it's not going to stay forever. I don't think because they have so many backs. But I think for now he's going to be that guy.
Yeah, me personally, I think you get better options everywhere. You're not getting, in my opinion, you're not getting anything of a ceiling out of him. You're only getting a 4-point floor. I mean, we're talking about someone that did split 21 carries and got 14 of them. So he did get a very sizable share of the backfield. It is fair to say that he is, at least that running back there. But I think at any point, it's going to be ride the hot hand. And with that team, it doesn't seem like anyone's really going to be hot. I think it's all just going to be a stink fest. And I think you can get some better value other places. Another person I'm definitely not going to be playing this week, but is someone you might want to be stashing because we just got a flash of why everyone knows this guy's name. It's Alexander Mattison. Dalvin Cook left the game on Sunday with a little bit of an ankle tweak. Did come back with that ankle fully taped up, and I mean massively taped up, and did finish the game. But with the amount of injuries we're already seeing, the amount of ACL tears, the amount of Achilles tears, those handcuffs are starting to get more and more juicy. Only owned in 35.2% of leagues. If you've got an empty roster space and you've got a place to put the guy, Alexander Mattison might be someone that can just give you a little bit of a push to victory at some point during the season, especially if Dalvin Cook starts missing any time starting somewhat soon here.
Yeah, I love picking up Alexander Mattison. I have Jermichael Hasty in a league as well as Ramondre Stevenson. It's actually my 0 RB league. Go watch that. I just dropped an episode to kind of go over it. Alexander Mattison is a guy I'm targeting. I have at a $200 budget. I'm targeting him with $31 because, Cook is banged up. Hugh Miles, he just asked a question, is Kj Osborne viable? And Q, what I'm going to say is just tune in, give us like 5-10 more minutes. We'll actually be talking about KJ Osborne. He is on this list when we talk about wide receivers. And then he also asked me, because he sent a trade offer set for Brandon Ayuk for a first round pick in a dynasty league. What side do you want, John?
I don't like saying this, but right now, I think I'd just rather take the first round pick.
Boy, thank you.
Just give me.
I told him I'll give him a second. I said I'll give him a second. Real quick though, we've got a few more people in here watching this. If you guys could smash the like button, we truly, truly appreciate it. Let's jump over to Zach Moss. Zach Moss got in the end zone twice. Didn't have a ton of attempts, but his day was really just made off of the 2 touchdowns. 8 carries, 26 yards, not efficient, or not very efficient. Now I do know he had a couple goal line carries. So that will eat into that, efficiency. And then he got the 2 touchdowns, of course. 2 targets, 8 for 8 yards. Did have a fumble though too, so that's not very, very concerning. I think this is a guy you just pick up for depth. Is a potential if Devin Singletary goes down and this guy is like the only guy in the backfield at that point, he's going to get carries. It's not a hot pick. I'm not going to start him next week or anything like that, but I do think that getting him onto your roster if you're QB needy or RB needy or even flex player needy, or just kind of want to do something like change up who you have on your bench.
Just got bored of looking at some names. So I'm just going to switch them around.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's true. There are guys who just aren't getting used, and I do that every once in a while. I think it's a smart thing to do is if you have these guys on your bench, some guys, not everybody, but if you have some guys on your bench that just don't have that upside, don't have a potential yet or something like that, I think it's smart to just continuously, get a couple fresh guys in there. Not your entire bench, obviously, but I think Zach Moss is kind of that.
I think you can pick him up in a redraft league. If you're in a fab league, I wouldn't put any money down on him. Again, just a depth piece at most. You're looking at both your running backs going down. You ran out of the other backups you planned on playing behind those guys, and you don't have enough receivers to fit in the flex that week. I don't ever think I'm going to be in a situation where I'm ever going to comfortably play Zach Moss, regardless if Singletary's in. If it's just Zach Moss there, his totals always just come from the touchdowns, and he's not this insanely talented back that we've seen just be able to dominate the red zone and earn his goal line work every week, and even ever guarantee a touchdown in a 3-game span. So I think he's always going to be that shot in the dark play with limited upside. Again, I like some other players on here, but if you like him, he does have a role. It's just not one I'm comfortable taking.
Let's get over to Kenneth Gainwell. Got in the end zone week 1. Didn't have a crazy week 2. 6 carries, 3 targets, 2 catches for 18 yards. Good pass catching back. Just a handcuff to keep on your radar for Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders had a mad day as well. He 13 carries, 55 yards, didn't put up a ton of points. So Kenneth Gainwell is just a handcuff. I think he's clearly taken over that. It's Boston Scott's not really in the picture. So it's Kenneth Gainwell is that second guy, and having him on your bench, is not a bad idea to either handcuff Miles Sanders or just have some upside there.
Yeah, some deep depth. I take Kenneth Gainwell over Zach Moss right now for the future.
Yeah, I would as well.
If Gainwell got the one running back position in Philly over Zach Moss having the one in Buffalo, I would take Gainwell all day. Going on to we'll skip him, move on. Going on to someone that everyone should have rostered in the draft because he's Atlanta Falcons' number 1 scorer, Cordell Patterson. 14.7%. Calvin Ridley owners are shaking in their boots because they drafted the wrong receiver. And when I say they, I am also speaking about myself. So what's going on in Atlanta? Why? Where's Calvin?
Well, he's not. I mean, he's getting the rushing attempts. That's where he's going to be most useful as a running back. I mean, going in, I don't know about you. I was not very hot on Mike Davis, and I don't think you were either.
No, Mike Davis was my sit of the week.
Yeah, well, I'm saying in the draft time, in the draft period.
Yeah,
I don't think Mike Davis had 9 carries this week. Okay, Cordell Patterson had 7. That doesn't scream, oh, I trust you, no matter what kind of game you're in. Cordell Patterson, I think, could, as weird as it sounds, have a solid one. He's a big dude, 6'2", 220. And yeah, I mean, Mike Davis 220 as well, but I think that he's going to have a role in this offense, no matter what. He's multi-tooled, and it's just weird to say and weird to talk about this name, but another guy I really like having, on the bench. If Mike Davis goes down, he's that guy. Him and Wayne Gallman. But Wayne Gallman was a healthy scratch again. So it's a weird backfield. It's a really weird just team in general right now.
No. I'm personally super comfortable taking Cordell Patterson and throwing him in a flex position starting this week.
Wow.
I mean, just going back and looking at the amount of usage he's getting. Yeah, he got those 7 carries, but a majority of his yards came on the receptions. He got the touchdown. He only had 11 carries, so he's getting the ball in the red zone. He is a surprise, a very, very big surprise for everyone this year. I don't think there's anyone out there that would have expected him to be competing with running back 11 on the year right now. So yeah, if you get a chance to grab him, make sure you do. He's someone that you can spend a little bit of fab on because he's already starting to get the usage and is consistently only in a 2-week period has been able to put up points. Now let's jump over to the 2 long shot pickups. Demeric Felton out of Cleveland was a special teams punt returner and kick returner who this week after Jarvis Landry ended up injuring himself. Came in, caught 2 balls for 51 yards and a touchdown. And after the game, Stefanski even came out and said that they're really excited for him this year, and he put in a lot of work this offseason, and noted that he's spent a lot of time in the running back room as well as the receiver room. So they're expecting him to slate up as a starting receiver this week, possibly, as the early speak is going. Now, only owned in 0.2% of leagues. Now, I think this is someone you can just put a $1-0 bid on. Hold him for the week, see what kind of news comes out. It's possible he has somewhat of a solid role as one of the 3 random receivers to get a shot on Cleveland's offense this week.
Yeah, I think it's a long shot. It's somebody just to, keep an eye on. Like I talked about earlier, getting somebody new on your bench that has a little bit of upside. This guy has it with, Jarvis Landry not there. And is there an update on Odell Beckham? I don't think he's playing this week. So, or they're going to come up with an update later this week. So yeah, I mean, just somebody to have, they're going to need somebody, Donovan Peoples-Jones is there too. Rashad Higgins as well, those guys, but yeah, is a long shot, deep shot,
deep dart throw. And mainly my only point on that is he is able to line up in that running back position on most of your sleeper and fantasy apps. So I'm sorry, the running back position, and then does get that receiver work. So if you are weak at running back and need that shot in the dark, if he does come out that he is going to be getting some usage this week, it might be worth throwing him in there as the riskiest play of the week. And then finally, just a name to keep your eyes out for, Jaquise Patrick getting signed over in San Francisco. There is obviously more time for them to sign another back for this week. But as of right now, he is the number 1 guy, 0% owned because he was on a practice squad prior. We'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm not taking a shot on him yet. He's possibly going to get picked up in a waiver period by someone who's done their research, but I feel like they're going to be bringing in another name.
Yeah, they have to. I know they had Lamar Miller in, they had Duke Johnson, they had TJ Yeldon in. So, I mean, somebody's going to get signed.
So jumping over to the receivers, Miles, hope you're still here with us. We're going to start out with your guy first, just because you brought it up, Kj Osborne. Now, I do think that you can start keeping an eye out for Kj Osborne. He was someone that I brought up last week just because of the amount of usage that he got already this season. Last week, 9 targets, 7 catches. This week, 6 targets, 5 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. So came through with that usage. Looked, in my opinion, very good. And honestly, I called out earlier this season, I think Justin Jefferson does see a little bit of regression. And I think that's going to come on the fact that he's not going to be the guy this year in Minnesota. I think the ball's going to be more spread out. And as of right now, we're seeing that happen. And I think the fact that Kj Osborne's getting those consecutive targets, I'm comfortable starting to flex this guy. If he's getting more than 6 targets a game, that's going to be something that can yield a lot of stuff, especially if they turn into a shootout at the bad defense.
Yeah, he's got a good matchup this week, Seattle. That defense is not good. And I mean, I think this week I would be comfortable with flexing him in.
All right. Going over to someone that you've been really hot on all offseason, AJ Green, only owned in 31.2% of leagues. Mike, what's the deal with AJ Green this week? Why are we picking him up?
What's the deal? He's gotten 2 games of 6 targets week to week. He got in the end zone, obviously, which helped him fantasy wise, but he is clearly the wide receiver 2 on that team. And with, Kyler Murray playing the way he is, he's going to have his games. And I think, this week he's playing Jacksonville, so I would feel pretty comfortable starting him. But just to give you snap percentages real quick, AJ Green had an 83.6% snap percentage. Christian Kirk had 62 and Rondale Moore had 46. I know. And yes, Rondale Moore, we talk about him in a minute, or we can talk about him now. I think he is a great pickup as well, but I think we're going to see more of AJ Green. He's going to take some time to get settled into this offense. And I do think that you're going to get some games out of him, some flexible games. I'm not talking wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 games, but I'm saying that he is going to be usable at points throughout the season. And it's clear to me that AJ Green is that number 2.
I highly disagree. I think Rondale Moore is, he might be getting AJ Green's definitely getting the higher snap percentage right now, but even in that 40% snap percentage that Rondale Moore got, he's still out targeted AJ Green in that half the amount of plays nearly. More yards, more touchdowns, and even last week, Rondale Moore and AJ Green nearly both unusable in fantasy with that random usage from Christian Kirk coming in. I think AJ Green's going to do what he did in Chicago last year, or in Cincinnati last year. It was the slow start, bunch of targets because they're taking the deep shot on him, but he's not coming through. That's why he had over 100 targets last season. I'm just not buying into it this year. Obviously, the touchdown does help, but I do think those are the only weeks you're going to be able to comfortably be happy that you put him in your lineups. And I think Rondale Moore is someone that they're going to use DeAndre Hopkins for deep field work plus underneath, and then Rondale Moore is just an asset underneath.
All right, let's get over to
legs.
Yeah, he's got the legs. Quintez Cephas guy has had 13 total targets throughout this year, six in week 1, 7 in week 2. Got in the end zone both weeks, which is nice. Average yards per catch 15.75 this week. So nice and efficient there. Got a couple deep balls, 4 for 63. He's got Baltimore though. But he is currently the team's wide receiver 1. Tyro Williams, concussion protocol. Amon-Ra St. Brown, nowhere to be found. And then, of course, the running backs, DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, are the 2s and 3s on the wide receiver end. So, Quintez Cephas is wide receiver 1 for a team.
Yeah, I think you can comfortably play him in a flex position almost every week as of right now. Jared Goff's throwing the ball enough. He's getting enough targets to do something, and back-to-back touchdowns. Obviously, it's going to regress. You're not going to start expecting, a touchdown every week. But he is getting enough usage, and as the team's number 1 wide receiver, but number 2 target on the team, that's going to lead to enough points for you at the end of the week. I'm comfortable playing him.
As am I. So Darnell Mooney, 53.4% owned. We talked about him being a solid flex option, and he put up just under 10 points this week, I believe. So, with Justin Fields playing this week, I think it's gonna be a tough matchup either way for him. and it might be rough, but he got 8 targets and caught 6 of them. I hope Justin Fields stays in for a while.
I mean, we've been saying it since he got drafted. As soon as he gets in, it's more than likely over. So if Andy Dalton doesn't start this week and Justin Fields comes in and doesn't lose the game on his reasons, he's going to continue to be the starter there, in my opinion. So yeah. I'm comfortable picking up Mooney if you don't already. I do think he's someone that should have already been on a roster if he wasn't. He's highly rosterable, and now he's going to be scooped up. So if you really, really want him and you really, really believe in him and you like the target share and you like what could happen with Justin Fields there, it's going to be a big fab bid, in my opinion. He didn't put up a lot of points, but he is a name a lot of people know. And after a somewhat usable game in the hype around Justin Fields, people are going to be paying up for him. I don't know if I'd match everyone's hype, though. I like him. Mike, I love Darnell Mooney.
Mm-hmm.
But I just...
What are you comfortable spending on him, percentage-wise?
5 to 10, maybe.
5 to 10. As far, and real quick, because we didn't really talk about the first 3. Rondale Moore, percentage. What are you comfortable?
15.
15. Quintez?
If I'm really wide receiver needy, I'll spend up to 25%. If I'm just looking for another depth piece with high upside, I'll spend 15.
Okay. And then AJ Green?
5%.
5%. All right. Yeah, I think Rondale Moore and Cephas are definitely going to be guys you have to spend up for in that 25 to 30% range. 25% range. I don't want to spend any more than that, at all. AJ Green, I'd probably spend 12% just to get him, and you might not even have to pay that much. And then Darnell Mooney, I think because of the quarterbacks up and downs and potential, Andy Dalton comes back in later, I'm spending around 15% as well. So Zach Pascal. He I know obviously Jacob Eason's going to be the quarterback going in this week. Carson Wentz sprained both ankles somehow. That is amazing in itself. Wish he didn't, obviously, but damn. He's been consistent in the targets. 5 week 1, 6 this week. And he's been consistent with the touchdowns too. He gotten in the end zone both weeks. Obviously it's a very difficult stat to track and predict, but I think Zach Pascal is, worth rostering. I'm not spending up a ton. I'm, 1 or 2%, just to get him on my roster because Jacob Eason is the quarterback. He's got Tennessee this week, which is a divisional game. So honestly, anything can happen in those, interdivisional games. Then he's got Miami and Baltimore, which are, 2 pretty tough teams. But I think he's somebody that is worth getting onto your roster and just kind of seeing the way it plays out. Obviously, Michael Pittman stepped up in a big way this week. But, I think he's just worth seeing what he does the rest of the year at least, or at least the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you could pick him up and just see what happens. Again, I'd grab him and hold him if I'm picking him up. I'm not going to spend any fab on him. He's someone that I'll throw the offer out there for, and just if I get him, I get him. Especially like you're saying, the next few matchups pretty difficult. Quarterback situations extremely iffy. They could be switching quarterbacks halfway through the game for all we know, and we don't know what that's going to lead to. If anything, I'm much happier to play Jonathan Taylor with what's going on at the quarterbacks. But I think Pascal's rosterable.
Yeah. Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler. Tim Patrick is currently 18.8% owned, where KJ Hamler is 5.3% owned. Tim Patrick is had got in the end zone. Kind of weird, a very similar stat line to week 1. 4 targets, 3 catches for 37 yards and a touchdown. Week 1, it was 4 for 4 for 39 and a touchdown. So very, very similar in that aspect. And as far as KJ Hamler, he only had 3 targets, 1 catch for 5 yards. One thing here, they're both on the field. the majority of the time. It's Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, and KJ Hamler. And to be honest, I know Tim Patrick has gotten in the end zone, both weeks and has led the two in targets, but I don't think it's going to be a secure. I really feel, I think this week's going to be a KJ Hamler week. I really do. I like KJ Hamler a lot, talent wise and all, but playing the Jets, I think both of these guys, I think Tim Patrick's probably the safer flex play if you want to flex him in. And KJ Hamler's like a boom guy if you want to take a shot.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that last statement. I think that you're looking at two players that are definitely rosterable and have a great opportunity, especially this week, and then could follow up in some big opportunities against tough defenses like Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Both of these guys are teams that have put up. I mean, Tim Patrick had one of his best games going against Kansas City last season. He had 4 catches on 4 targets, 44 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's actually a really common stat in his stat book. And if he doesn't get the touchdown, those aren't amazing points. Last season, he hit that 4 catches, like 40-ish yards and a touchdown, like 3 times, I believe. So he does give you like somewhat of a floor with not the highest ceiling. And then KJ Hamler, in my opinion, is the exact opposite. He has no floor, and realistically, he has almost no ceiling. He is incredibly fast. He can burn almost anyone like a Tyreek Hill, and is someone who can make one cut on a slant and end up in the end zone. So he is that huge play receiver. He's going to have 2 games this year with 3 catches and 100 yards with a touchdown. So
should have been week 1. Dropped a damn 50-yard touchdown.
Talk about Darnell Mooney all last season. It happens. But no, so I think that there is going to be weeks that KJ Hamler boom. So if you're looking for a boom bust pick, you're grabbing KJ Hamler. If you're just on a weak roster and you're trying to find yourself some sort of stability with what you can, Tim Patrick's going to be that guy for you out of these two. And I think Tim Patrick's someone that's going to show up a lot while Jerry Jeudy's out.
Yeah. So, and then our last receiver, Cedric Wilson, 0.9% owned. And obviously, Amari Cooper, if you haven't heard, is banged up, questionable so far going into this week. I think he's just a solid pickup. I mean, after week 1, he filled in for Michael Gallup, and 2, if no Amari Cooper this week, then, you've got Pollard, and you got Pollard there, and you've got CeeDee Lamb to really catch the ball, and of course Zeke, but I think Cedric will be involved.
Blake Jarwin's there too. Let's not forget.
And Dalton Schultz,
which is why you're not picking up either of them, but they'll snipe some. Yeah, I think Cedric Wilson's a great pickup, especially with how much they even used Gallup while he was still available there. And as much as Dak likes to throw the ball, obviously this weekend was a little weird. Didn't really put up the numbers that we wanted from him, but it is what it is. I don't think I'd spend fat budget on him. I'd just take the shot on him. If I'm in a deep league and where these types of receivers are the ones that are at the top of the available list, then I'm spending maybe 5-10% at that point. But in a standard roster size redraft league, I'm not putting anything on Cedric. 5% on Tim, 5% on KJ. All of them mainly depth pieces in case of an emergency.
Yep. Let's move over to our 2 tight ends before we get out of here. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, if you want to ask a question, feel free to type it in the chat. We will chat. We will answer any questions after we cover these 2 guys. And those can be any questions. Start, sit, whatever you want. We'll answer it. Really appreciate you guys watching. Also, if you can smash that like button, we truly appreciate it. Dawson Knox, owned in 4.3% of leagues, on the field for 83% of the 83% this week. He got in the end zone. Outside of that, three targets, two receptions, and 17 yards. So, I mean, nothing great, nothing crazy from him, but I mean, if you need a tight end, I guess you can go after him. Just for, upside, I think that we see a better passing game come from that offense. in the coming weeks. So just as a got to have, I mean, personally, if I have a top 10, top 12 tight end right now, I'm not really looking to grab anybody, but he's just somebody we wanted to mention.
Yeah, I'm not, obviously a tight end's not someone you're taking big shots on. And Mike, I'm going to be honest with you. If you had a top 6 or top 10, top 12 tight end, Dawson Knox, it's tight end 7, tight end 8 right now. So realistically, I like him. I'm not diving out
season.
For him. Yeah.
No way.
I swear. We're only in week 2.
Oh, wow. 10. Yep. Jeez. Yeah. Tight end, man. Yeah. So I guess so. I guess we are picking up Dawson Knox, folks.
It's low end consistency, and that's someone that, especially by the end of the season, if he continues just to put up these points, you're probably looking at like a tight end 15 on the year. But I don't think you're going to have those big games coming from him. Obviously, Buffalo has enough receivers. They like to use the receivers a lot more than the tight ends there. So I'm not going to be spending up on him. But if I've drafted a complete dumpster fire of a tight end at this point,
Mike Gesicki.
If I drafted Mike Gesicki, I might pick up Dawson Knox. Find that consistency and just, instead of trying to punt the position every week, just go for the nice little 3rd and 1 dive. So
there we go.
Another tight end that you can grab, though, Mike's man crush of the Steelers, Pat Freiermuth, tight end 15 on the year.
4 targets, 4 catches, 36 yards. Hasn't gotten in the end zone yet, but I think he gets in the end zone this week. Might be on the props and picks. I like that. With Deontay Johnson potentially hurt and out for this week. Check that props and picks episode. We'll be talking something. I think he gets his first touchdown this week. But I think that we saw in the preseason there's a connection there with Ben. Ben is a little banged up as well. But overall, I think Pat Freiermuth is a decent guy, low end, floor, decent ceiling. Unless you have a top 3 guy, you're not scoring a ton of points anyway. So, just somebody to keep on your radar, I think. I mean, I wouldn't, if you're rostering somebody who's clearly better, I wouldn't, go rostering him. But if you need a streaming tight end, Pat Freiermuth might be it this week.
I think he can be it. I mean, honestly, the tight end, you're taking a shot wherever, regardless if it's obviously the Steelers are a team with 2 tight ends that are fantasy relevant, Eric Ebron and Pat Freiermuth, but you're punting the position outside of the top 6 right now. So outside of the top 7, even, man.
But I know it's rough. It's rough. So, but all right, ladies and gentlemen, feel free, ask away, ask a question if you got it. If we don't see any, we're gonna get out of here. So we'll give you guys a few minutes, or a couple minutes just to ask any questions you have, and then we can go from there.
Tight ends 6 through 17 are only separated by 3.2 points.
Yeah, I saw. That's crazy, dude. Nuts. It'll start, as the weeks go on, it'll start getting a little more distance. But at the end of the day, honestly, if you can get a tight end who puts up 10 points, 9 points a week, you're fine. Oh, yeah. Which is sad to say. I hope one day tight end is, like we find multiple Kelseys and Wallers and Kittles. And by the way, Kittle, where's he at? 13, tight end 13.
How did he do this week? I didn't even see his.
Didn't do well.
I didn't see many of the receivers on San Francisco really doing that great this week.
Yeah, 3.7 points. So, but
4 catches, getting that PPR boost.
Yeah, there we go. So, but all right, guys, I don't see any questions coming across. All right, let's get out of here.
All right, man.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you could do us a favor, smash that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would really, really appreciate it.